Woo! I've been up since 5 a.m. I've had like 10 cups of coffee, but it was worth it to get here tonight. So it's Saturday night. All right, this is a heavy subject, right? So I just wanted to do a little icebreaker. I need 3 bold volunteers. We're going to play a little word association game. Who's bold? Come on. You, I saw your friend's point. Are you volunteering? No? 3 people. It's not that bad, I promise. Okay. All right, so tell us what comes to mind when I say this word. Yes. Netflix and chill. Wait, into the mic. Sorry, they can't hear you.
The mic, bro. Sex.
Okay, thank you. Oh, reaching. All right, who's my second? Come on. Yes. All right. Reality dating show.
Steamy date nights.
That's good. Okay, last one. I think we're all experiencing this in a lot of ways. Cancel culture. Just someone shout a word. Cancel culture. Terrible. Yes, it is terrible. Okay, so I just wanted to break the ice a little bit. Those 3 words, I'm going to put this up here, all have to do with a really crazy experience I found myself in. A really crazy reality dating television show that at the time I thought was the absolute end of just my life, right? Like things happen and you're just utterly embarrassed. But now I see how God used it and he's going to use it. See, love is something each of us desire. That person we find that we build a life with, that understands us, they know all of our quirks, and they still love us. That person to grow old with, travel the world with. That resonates with me. I think that resonates with all of us, right? But the journey to love can so easily go a million ways. And I want to talk tonight about how finding love and pursuing love can so easily be distorted with sex and compromising yourself, thinking that is love. But really, it's not God's best. It's not really the optimal situation out of a healthy place. And I took a stand for that decision. It's not a popular decision. It wasn't then, and it isn't now. But I want to tell you my story tonight because I believe it's the most underrated decision that exists today. It has absolutely, like I seriously could cry at the man I'm married to, and you'll get to meet him. He's not here, but he made a video through my experience. So, okay, my story. I grew up in Texas. I don't know if there's any Texans in here, but I'm from Houston. Yeah. And I grew up the oldest of 4 kids. I have twin brothers, very cute, love Jesus, and they're single, by the way, and a sister. And I experienced a divorced family when I was 7 years old. So I'm the oldest. I'm seeing just the absolute destruction of my family fall apart. And I also was asked out on my first date around the same time. Or, I'm sorry, not at 7. Jeez. Getting ahead of myself here. So I saw the divorce, and then years later, right, when I started to like boys and get interested, my mom had the talk with me. The birds and the bees. I think every parent dreads that conversation these days. And, well, it's always been a hard conversation, but my mom really did an amazing thing. She didn't preach what she was against, but what she was for. She was for an amazing relationship, an incredible bond that she wanted me to share with my husband one day, and she explained the beauty of that and the romance and just really the fairy tale, right? Like you wait and you meet this person and you both just made that decision to save yourself for each other. And I went on to University of Texas at Austin, which is one of the biggest party schools. It really is. Like we've got 6th Street, Austin's a party town. People come from all over the world. I was in a sorority, I was a cheerleader, I was surrounded by the football team. We were winning at the time. Colt McCoy was our quarterback. Now we're losing a lot. I don't know any football fans out there. But I was always around the party scene. And I didn't judge. Like, I had friends of all different beliefs, but I decided I didn't want to do that. And so I found the perfect movie scene that depicts how I felt when I first started to publicly say, well, I'm waiting. I don't want to do that. I felt mortified. I started hearing laughs, people telling me, you're so weird, that is so outdated, and it honestly was hard. Like, I really did, for the first time in college, like, feel out of place, but I still had, like, a good church and a good group of friends. So fast forward, I graduate from Texas, and I did Miss Texas USA, so I'm at this beauty pageant, and these casting directors walk up to me and they're like, are you single? And I was like, yeah. They're like, oh, okay. Would you do a reality dating show? And I was like, absolutely not. That is the worst idea in the world. They're like, no, Eva Longoria is the producer. It's a new show. It's all the producers of The Bachelor, and we're just doing an NBC version. Come to LA, hear us out. So I'm this recent college grad thinking, what am I going to do with my life? Ooh, a free trip to LA? Okay. I'm an Enneagram 7, so I'm fueled by adventure and fun. So I was like, awesome, I'm going to go. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. So when you watch any reality show, anyone out there, they do the same casting process. They do a psych test. Literally, they're like, do you hear voices in your head? I'm like, no. They do like STD tests. Like they want to know everything about you. So I make it to all of the rounds, and I walk into the final round. It's a big open room. There's about 30 chairs, and I'm at NBC Universal in Los Angeles, California. The president of NBC is sitting right there, and there's one chair for me. So I sit there and I'm like, geez, am I interviewing for the FBI or is this a reality show? You know, it was just so intense. So it's a dating show. They're like, what do you look for in a guy? I'm like, well, I say all the things, but one of the first things I said was, I want him to respect my morals and my decision. I'm waiting for marriage and my faith is important to me. And the president goes, stop. Hold on a second. What'd you just say? I said, well, what part? He's like, you're waiting for marriage. And I was like, yeah. He's like, so you're telling me you're a virgin? And like the whole room started laughing, like that scene that I just played for you guys. So imagine, as a young girl, like, A, it's embarrassed to be laughed at, but B, like by major network Hollywood producers. Are you kidding me? Like, I wanted to absolutely melt my chair. And I just remember I was like, God help, like give me a spirit of strength. And I replied really with confidence. I was like, yeah, I am. And I really think that God's guy for me is gonna love that I'm making that decision and I'm saving that for him. You could hear a pin drop. I left that room and I called my mom and said, definitely not getting that call. That was awkward. So a week later, I get a call, a Los Angeles number's calling me. I'm like, here it goes, telling me no. Hi, Angela. This is Geraldine. We would love for you to fly out to California next week. You've been selected to be on the show. And I'm like, really? I see how this is going to go. They're going to typecast me. They're going to make fun of it. They're going to do my character. Like, I was just dreaming of all these things, and I didn't say yes. I honestly said no. They flew a producer out to take me to dinner and like woo me or something because she was like, no, I promise, like this guy really, we think he's a match for you. And I was like, you know what? There's no handbook on love. Maybe that's my guy. So I packed my bags, head to Los Angeles, pack for 5 months is what they tell you, by the way, because filming goes so long. And this is what I walked myself into. I like to say that our show is like The Bachelor meets Hunger Games because we came out of the stage like on elevators. And if you were eliminated, you did not come back up in the elevator. Everyone's like, where'd she go? Is she alive? So I find myself in this dress. We had hair and makeup behind stage. And they're like, all right, you got to go on stage. You got to say one thing about yourself. Angela, come here. I walk over there. What? you need to say that you're waiting for marriage. You need to say that when you get on the stage and the cameras go on. I'm like, what? And I felt like, okay, I got to do what they say, right? They're the producers. So I did it. I was like, all right, I'm not ashamed of this, So I get on stage, and as the show trailer showed, that there are matchmakers. Well, those matchmakers told me right there with a live audience of thousands of people that I was not a modern day woman because I was making the decision to wait. I sat there in a dress, ready to just peace out off stage, honestly. I was like, why did I do this to myself? But again, God's warrior spirit came out of me. And I was like, you know what? If he doesn't like that decision, send me to the freaking bottom. I will go home tonight, okay? And so I went. They tried to eliminate me. There's 3 girls, and he has to eliminate the one. He chose me first to stay. And I never saw that elimination space again. And so after the show, I am doing so much press, like Fox News, Daily Mail. We're in New York Times on the screen. It was crazy. My friends were like, I just saw you in a cab. I'm like, what? No one wanted to talk about the show, though. They wanted to talk about my decision to wait and how do I do that? Why am I doing that? Is that hard for me to do? Like, just every question under the sun. And I seriously felt like I was just Angela the Virgin. Like, everywhere I went, I was like, I'll just wear a uniform. Like, this is just all the time, People knew that about me when I go into meetings. They're like, oh, I looked you up. And, like, imagine them just knowing it just felt like, oh, my gosh. But I guess I did find love from that show. Because years later, a man named Carson Blair, who's drafted by the Boston Red Sox out of high school, I don't know if we got any Red Sox fans or baseball fans, he read one of my interviews, and he messaged me on Instagram. So I believe in Instagram, like you can meet your person through that, just you gotta really filter them. I didn't see his message for 2 years though. He was very patient with me. Like, it went in the unread folder, the little second folder. And he wrote me and he said, hey, I saw your story. I think we share some common beliefs, and I really would love to take you to coffee sometime. I didn't know what he was talking about. I just thought he was really cute. And I was like, oh, we have mutual friends. Like, I could see him. So long story short, I'm living in New York City, and I had business in Dallas. We met for dinner, and he told me that night, hey, I reached out because, I'm actually a virgin still. And my jaw dropped to the floor because, A, he's gorgeous. Well, I'm biased, but he is very handsome. Played professional baseball for 11 years. I know that lifestyle. Like, you're not a virgin. Hold on a second. So I really took about 7 months to warm up to him, but he was patient. And we ended up falling in love, got engaged, and got married. I am a COVID bride. Yes, we eloped during COVID. And, I started to share our story of how we both waited. And I know we've talked about this in the other sessions, but A, I'm not any better because I made that decision, okay? And B, just if you do have a past, I really believe in recommitting if you want to. We're no better, right? Because we made that decision. So I just wanted to say that. But as I started to share Carson and I's story, I got reached out to by scientists and psychologists. They said, Angela, your story is so powerful. We need you to help us, because they're doctors, right? They're not going to go do an Instagram video. And my background's in media. They said, this hookup culture is the most damaging thing to today and the future society. You got to get the science out. And I'm like, what are you talking about, the science? Because I've always talked about it from my faith, right? What does the Bible say, all this? So for the last year, have been meeting all of these incredibly brilliant neurologists, psychologists, people that some of them aren't even believers, but they look at the science and the damages that it really does to us individually. So with that being said, I prepared a few slides because let's just play devil's advocate. Let's pretend we kind of have the worldly view and sex really is no big deal. Who cares? Enjoy yourself. It feels good. Just do it. So if we can pull up the next slide. I have found these are not faith-based articles, scientific studies, all with the conclusion, major mental distress and anxiety. If we can go to the next one, depression. This is from another study I found where they studied people that have these casual sex relationships and truly how your psyche is just absolutely morphed after that. Continue, please. You can just keep going and showing these. I just wanted to show the American Psychology Association, Psychology Today. These are not faith-based studies. These are straight science. So with all these studies that I've found about like how it truly impacts our mental health, which I think makes a lot of sense. Mental health is a big thing today, right? And we see this hookup culture that is in our rap music, songs, culture, social media. I mean, the more I've studied the science, I'm connecting the dots. And I thought this was really powerful. Justin Bieber even talks about kind of his mental state. I found stuff on the CDC website. I actually met the first doctor assigned by President Bush at the time on the CDC board for the STD division. And he shared some of this information with me that they had done at the time and since. So this is really interesting. This was just released, that the new stats for 2021, that it's gone from 20 million Americans to 26 million Americans with STIs. That's 1 in 5 people. And 26 million acquired STIs in 2018, and medical costs are nearly 16 billion. This is off the CDC website. Like, you could go right now and check this out. This was yesterday. 2,000 babies were born last year with a preventable infection, syphilis. The number is growing. Congenital syphilis can cause serious health effects from skeletal abnormalities to stillbirth. That's from an STI, like syphilis or STD. There's a recent epidemic right now of virus-related cancer in the head and neck spiking from oral sex, specifically in males. 79 million Americans are currently infected with HPV, and about 14 million people become newly infected each year. Giving birth with HPV can lead to blindness or major complications for newborns. The STI treatment industry is $16 billion per year. The contraceptive industry is $300 billion per year. Why do you think this is so pushed in our culture? Money. Look at these stats. This is crazy. This can be drastically reduced with healthier choices. I was just mind blown as I started to learn these things, because if there's nothing wrong with it and it's fine, why are we seeing stats like this? You know, like, God is a God of order, the way he made our bodies. And I know this community especially is so cool coming here. I was like, I'm going to a blue zone. Everyone's so into health. Like, I'm going to come back and I'm going to learn how to live longer. But seriously, like, these stats speak for themselves, you know? And this is, you can't argue with this. Even though I know feelings seem to be facts these days. I don't know. That seems to be people's truths. But these are facts. If we could go to the next slide. I'm not sure if I have Okay, so I really felt after I started learning this science, sex is all strings attached. Like, we can clearly connect the dots to show how our mental and physical health is optimal when sex is within the construct of God's design. So now that I've overwhelmed you with like really negative information about sex, I wanted to talk about purity, because that word is used so much. And I thought this was really interesting. I read this. It said, what is purity? Can we lose it? Many people have the notion that purity is something that you have when you are young and you lose it when you mess up. But in the Bible, purity is something that you go after. It is not so much something that you lose, but something that you gain as you grow in the Christian life. Cheers to that. So, oh, my emoji showed up weird. Look at that. Okay. Was it worth the wait? As I said earlier, it is the most underrated decision I feel that exists today. When I look at Carson, I feel such a purity that him and I both never knew each other and had many moments where we could have made a different decision. But that decision to not do that then and save that for each other, to me, just, I trust my heart with him. And I just want to challenge you ladies that is such a powerful decision that you can make for your future marriage. I got married during COVID. We eloped, just us two. I'm going to play the video in a minute. And it was truly like just absolutely God orchestrated event. Like, we eloped in Lake Tahoe. Usually there's a million boats in Emerald Bay. If you've ever been there, there was not one boat in that cove. And it was like God just rented out the bay for us. So I really just want to encourage you guys. You know, when I walked through all of these things throughout the years, and I left a lot out, right? A lot of tears. I'm human. So I had many moments where I thought, because I'm 34, I'll share my age, and I got married at 32. Through my entire 20s and early 30s, was like, am I crazy? No. Like, I'm not crazy. Like, I had human moments. Like, we're human, you know? And so did Carson. He was called up to the big leagues. The first thing they did on the veteran bus on the way to the game was, hey, man, tell us your craziest sex story. And he's like, I'm waiting. And they're like, oh, when'd you get married? He's like, I'm still single. This is before we met. And literally the guys are like throwing food at him and like water bottles. They're like, no way. Like, what? One guy's like, you're wasting it, man. Like, he heard it too. But now that we're married, we are so excited to share this message that it is worth the wait. Like, seriously, guys, it's amazing. So, okay, with all that said, I want to show you guys my fairy tale ending. And I'm excited because each one of you here tonight, it shows that you care about your future marriage or your current marriage, your relationship. And this is the kind of love I believe God wants us all to have in our life, life-giving love. So if you could please.
We've talked countless times about how we've dreamed of this moment. After all those years, and even writing down lists, I can honestly say that I'm not creative enough to dream up the person that you are. I tell you all the time how thankful I am for you, and I don't ever plan on slowing down.
I am truly blown away at how God does answer prayer. Our love is nothing short of a miracle. I believe in and I cling to our dedication to staying true to this kind of love. I've held on to the promise that God would bring the right man into my life. So now that this moment has actually come, I want to officially say, babe, I waited for you.
I get to love you. It's the best thing that I'll ever do. I get to love you. It's a promise I'm making to you. Whatever may come, your heart I will choose. Forever I'm yours, forever I do.
God rewards those who demonstrate obedience and faithfulness, entrusting them with even greater responsibility in the kingdom and greater blessing. I believe because of your trust, your obedience, and your sacrifice, you're about to embark on a journey and a life together that is going to blow your dreams away. The day you have been dreaming for and the conclusion of decades of obedience, sacrifice, and waiting for the one. Carson and Angela, by the power and authority vested in me, and in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Carson, you may kiss your bride.
I get to love you. 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 And they say love is a journey. I promise that I'll never I get to love you.
Yay. I always get emotional when I watch that. Thank you for watching my wedding video. I don't know if you guys enjoyed that or I'm just one of those girls that's like, watch my wedding. But I just want to leave you guys with this, and then Carson, we're going to play a quick video from him. But I had to ask myself, who is the audience I'm trying to please? And I realized it's really an audience of one. So I don't care what Eva Longoria or these agents or these Hollywood tabloids have to say. I know what God's word says. And the verse that is kind of my life verse that I just want to leave with you guys is 2 Corinthians 4:18. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. So just take that with you, and, we're going to get called out, or if we're taking a stand for God's way, but who cares? It's God's way. That's the best way, right? So as Melody said, I'm doing a show called All Strings Attached, and I would love for you guys to follow the journey. I'm super excited to take this scientific approach and talk about these things. So if you want to follow me, there's I'm a cartoon. I don't know how I feel about that, but they were like, hey, you're a cartoon. And I'm wearing a necklace there. I started a jewelry line, which I'll have after this, that I wanted to create a symbol that women could wear to share their faith. So the necklace is the Christian fish inside the heart, and we do really cool Bible verses. And I have really cool dog tags for guys as well that I created with the widow. If you've seen American Sniper, anybody? I don't know. The movie with Bradley Cooper. His widow is my business partner, and we have warrior tags for men to be warriors for God. So check it out. And then here's a little message from Carson. Thank you, guys.
Hey, what's up, University Church? Appreciate y'all letting me hop into your young adult conference today. My name is Carson Blair, and I'm the extremely lucky guy that gets to call Angela my wife. And hopefully y'all have gotten a chance to know her a little bit today and get to hear a little bit of what she's all about. But I'd like to take a second to tell y'all a little bit about what makes her special. I'm sure all of you noticed pretty quickly that she's pretty good looking, she's gorgeous and all that, but that's not at all what makes her unique and special. But what does make her special is she has the purest heart for the kingdom of God and for serving and encouraging young women. And further, what makes her even more unique is that her life actually reflects that, and her behaviors show that on a day-to-day basis instead of just some lip service. So wanted to share that with y'all today, a little bit about her. But ladies, I'd first like to talk to y'all for a quick second, and I'd like to dispel a couple myths that are out there. And the first one of those is that there is pressure on you to be in a relationship. There's pressure from all angles coming at young ladies in our society today, and it's totally unwarranted. There's pressures to dress a certain way, to present yourself a certain way. There's pressures to do certain things with guys to earn approval. There's pressure to be in a relationship. And if you're not, there's somehow something wrong with you. Well, I'll go ahead and dispel that one right away. Here's a little secret. I was 28 years old before I ever had my first girlfriend. And a little further, spill the beans a little bit, I'm the young one in Angel and I's relationship. So there's no rush. Trust me, it's gonna be okay. So that's number one. Number two is that there's pressure to present yourself a certain way or to do certain things with guys. Well, ladies, I'll tell you one thing right here. You have all the leverage in this relationship between guys and girls. So let's think about it for a second. Guys are pretty simple. They want two things. They want girls and they want food. And so ladies, y'all hold the keys to the number one thing that they want, and that's you. So what that means is that you can control their behavior by the expectations that you demand from them. So ladies, you can command and demand that guys treat you with respect, that they are thoughtful, that they are intentional with you, that they will nurture you and lead you instead of just running around like a bunch of irresponsible bros from The Bachelor. So ladies, y'all can control that narrative, and I promise you, your expectations can then affect a guy's behavior, and this kind of leads me to another thing. So what do you really want from a guy? Do you want their attention? Do you want them in a short-term fashion? Do you want to be cool for a hot second? Or do you want them to respect you and to want a relationship with you and to respect you as a person? I know that what I want in a relationship and what Angela wants in a relationship is she wants respect. She doesn't want attention. So ladies, just keep that in mind. And gentlemen, I just have one question for y'all. And this question actually changed my life when I was in middle school, when a gentleman actually came to my school and posed this question to me. And this question is, so what makes you a man? So let's think about this for a second. Literally, like sit there in your seat and think about this for a sec. Just what comes to mind? So what came to mind? Was it someone that's big, physical, aggressive, and just dominates people? Was it someone that has a lot of sexual conquest, that's kind of a player? Or was it the guy that drinks the most dark beer? Like, come on, these are the things that our society tells us are masculine and are cool. But these are not things that make you a man at all. So think about it for a sec. What does make you a man? Is it being physically strong and beating people and conquering people? Like, no. Like, go up to the edge of the Pacific Ocean and then flex your muscles in the face of God's creation, and then just feel how small you feel. It's okay, you're not that cool anymore. And then think about the guy that, okay, is kind of a player, like goes around conquering women and it's celebrated in society. And okay, well, think about it. Like, pigs run around and have indiscriminate sex, and like little fluffy toy dogs, like they hump everything in sight. So that really doesn't make you a man at all. And the beer thing, whatever, like that's just dumb. I don't know why anybody does that anyway, and it actually tastes terrible. So that's just a joke. But guys, come on, like we're better than that, and we can do better than that. So as you're sitting there thinking about this question of what makes you a man, I thought about this for a while as a young kid, and one of the things that came to mind was that one thing that makes a man is refraining from causing harm when you're capable of it. And so if you look at that from the standpoint of a relationship, a guy that has the ability to take advantage of a girl or hurt a girl's heart, but refrains from doing so, okay, now that's a man. Look at a guy that's, from a physical standpoint, a guy that could cause harm to any human, whether it's guy or girl, but refrains from it and decides not to. Like, okay, that's what makes a man. And so if you take all these decisions and you look at them throughout basically what I've been talking about today, it kind of boils down to our decisions become higher quality decisions and higher value decisions when we look at them with a long-term time perspective. So if you look at that delaying instant gratification for the long-term benefit, then I think we'll start to make better decisions as a collective society. So I want to leave y'all with that today. And guys, when you're walking out of here today or when you're sitting there in your chair, just think about, like, okay, what actually does make a man? Like, don't take my word for it. Actually dig in, kind of do some thought on your own and see what you come up with, because I promise you it is not what society tells us today, and we can do better, I promise. So appreciate y'all, University Church. Angela, I love you. See y'all.
Wow, that was so beautiful. Thank you. And we gotta bring Carson out here. That was so good.